Electric car sales represent like that much of Australia's new car market, but globally, they're taking off. There's even some cities and countries around the world that are going to ban internal combustion engines in the next couple of decades. So we wanted to get on board, and here is Jaguar's first ever electric car. It's called the I-Pace. We're going to be living with it for the next 6 months. It's our new long-termer. And today I'm going to take you through some of the features and the way that it drives as well to see whether this thing is any good.
Pricing for the Jaguar I-Pace kicks off for $123,000 plus on-road costs for the I-Pace S. It then steps up to the SE for $135,070. And as you see it here with a few options, we're talking about a car that costs $140,000.
Let's talk about the design here. Ian Callum, the Director of Design at Jag, had a clean slate to work with. So you're not interfering with any other models, so you can do whatever you want. And this was his vision of the perfect Jaguar electric car. And I reckon it looks pretty damn good. Up the front here, you've got a grille, because they kind of need a grille to not look too stupid. This is a functional area, and electric cars still need cooling, so that's what that's for. But then it gets really creative here in terms of aero. So this hole here lets air come through the bonnet there, so I can see straight through that, and then it goes over the roof to the back of the car. The air then travels underneath this spoiler here, and this is why there's no wiper. That air can push all the debris off the back window, and then look at this, it is like a waterfall, a straight drop down. That is for aerodynamics, so you don't have a turbulent zone right here slowing the car down. Now you'd think to yourself, an electric car needs to have an excellent coefficient of drag. Well, you'd be right. And this doesn't really have one of those, 0.29. You compare that to something like a Prius, which is 0.25. The lower the number, the better. But they've gone here for design over function. Before we have a look at the rest of the car, I wanted to show you this. This is the charging port. If you drive an ICE or an internal combustion engine car, this is the electric equivalent of sticking fuel in the tank. This up here is a Type 2 plug. This is universally becoming the standard around the world for electric cars. But hidden down the bottom here is something a little special. So down here you've got the DC portion of this plug. That's AC, that's DC. What you can plug into this car is what they call a CCS, or a combined charging system plug. It allows the car to charge at 100 kilowatts DC charging.
What does all that mean? Well, if you're at home, the 90 kilowatt hour battery is going to take you 43 hours to charge on a 10 amp charger. But most people are going to have a home charger installed that can operate either at 3.7 kilowatts or 7.4 kilowatts. And that will net you a charging time from empty of 27 hours or 13 hours respectively. But if you do find yourself a 100 kilowatt DC fast charger, it will deliver between 10 and 80% of charge in just 45 minutes. With a single phase 7 kilowatt charger attached to the car, what does all that mean in terms of driving range? Well, it is a little bit confusing because if you're in cold weather, you're going to have a combined driving range of about 325 k's. If you're in mild weather, it's 430 k's, but in optimum conditions, it's around 470 kilometres. And that's simply because using a heater or an air conditioner in an electric car varies that range greatly.
So how usable is the boot space? You've got a little over 650 litres available here. If I yank this thing out of the way, you then have underfloor storage as well. This is where your cable sits. And then you've got 60-40 split folding seats that fold down to open up a space of a little over 1,400 litres. This is one of my favourite parts of the I-Pace, and it's because there is stacks of room back here and it's really comfy as well. With a lot of electric cars and the batteries that sit underneath the floor, often you're compromised with tow room. Well, it's not the case here. I have plenty of tow room there, and even with my seat almost all the way back, which is my normal driving position, I've got a fair bit of knee room there as well. Headroom's pretty good, and check this out. I love this full glass panoramic roof. It comes all the way back to here, and if you're sitting here in the back seat, you are getting epic views out into the sunlight there. It looks really cool. In terms of other little bits and pieces around the cabin, center armrest, 2 cup holders, and then in here as well, you've got a little storage area for odds and ends. If you do have kids and stuff like that in the back seat here, they're gonna love the USB charging ports here. One on each side, 5 volts here, so you're going to pump your devices full of power, and then in the center a 12 volt outlet. And then on top of that, if you do have kids in seats, ISOFIX on the 2 outboard seats. The only downside to this area is that the doors don't quite swing open far enough, so you're going to find it a little tricky to get a baby seat in here. But if you do have kids that like running out of the car before you're ready to finish up parking, you're going to love this little feature here. It's a light on the door. It flashes if there's a cyclist or another car coming, and the kids won't be running out into traffic. I reckon science projects should be kept to the classroom, and Jag's of the same opinion, because have a look at this. It is a normal Jag interior. It doesn't need to be all stupid and funny just because it's an electric car. This car's built in Austria at the Magna Steyr plant, so it's where the E-Pace is built as well. But it doesn't really make a difference because the build quality here is fantastic. Jag has done a really good job and everything just looks normal. Now, before we get stuck into the infotainment and some of the features that come with the car, I want to show you this, the app that you can put on your phone. The app's fantastic because it lets you control all aspects of the car. So if you've got it parked in a big field or a car park, this will tell you exactly where the car is. It'll even allow you to get directions to the car as well, which is cool. You can beep the horn, flash the lights, and from there as well, you can even lock and unlock the car remotely. If it's charging, you can also see the charge state and how much charge time you have left. You can set vehicle departure so you can preheat the car if you need to, or if you want to take advantage of off-peak charge pricing, you can also set the charge period remotely too. From there, you can set the climate control. So if it is hot outside, this will allow you to get that car cooled down nicely. And I love this feature, Journeys. So this gives us an idea of our travel time for the day, our travel duration, and also the location that we've traveled to, how much energy we've regenerated and our average speeds. All this data can be downloaded for later use too. And then finally, you've also got other key features like your assistance function, health report as well if anything goes wrong with the car, and the ability also to set certain things in the car, such as a transport mode or a service mode. So if the car is stolen, they don't start giving information over to the police. Jaguar's tried to move the game forward in terms of infotainment. They're using a system called InControl Touch Pro. Bit of a mouthful, but it is essentially a 10-inch screen that sits here in the dashboard, colour touch screen, comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is good. And then you have a sub screen here that's 5.5 inches. It does your climate and other sub functions as well. I love this. So you control your temperature just by turning this up and down. You control the fan by pulling it out, and then you control the seats by pushing it in. And then it's got this little tread pattern there as well. Gear stick doesn't exist. You've got these buttons here, and then you can transition between your Sport and Eco modes over here. Now, this isn't a great system, unfortunately. It's not too bad to use, but it is really slow and clunky. So when you first boot the car, it takes forever for everything to get up on the screen. So if you want to put an address into the nav, you're sitting there waiting for it to come through. Then on top of that, there's a SIM card for connectivity with the car that you get with the car. So it allows you to see where the car is and do all your remote functions. But then you need another SIM card that you pay for that slots into here. And that does stuff like traffic updates and connects you to the live services. Bit cumbersome, I reckon. It should all just be under the one. And then ahead of the driver, there's a 12.3-inch colour screen that controls all of your car functions. It's a really good setup here, but also, again, like this, it's a little slow and laggy. So as you're accelerating, it's not really smooth. The refresh rate could be much quicker. Before we head out for a drive, I've got to mention the storage here. There are so many places to put things. You've got cup holders here, storage underneath that centre tunnel. You've got a big centre console here, good glove box, and then storage in the doors as well. So you will have places to put all of your stuff everywhere you go. When I drove this car at the international launch, I was blown away with the roads that we were driving. Jaguar didn't pull any punches, so we did highways, we did mountain roads, racetrack, off-road, everything. You name it, we were driving it. So they were really confident in the car. But the difference was each car at the launch had air suspension. Jaguar here has given us a car with coil springs. It is a little on the firmer side of comfortable, but still really good. For a car that weighs around 2.2 tonnes, it really hugs the road nicely and it drives beautifully over some of those imperfect roads you come across in Australia. Luckily, driving this car is just like driving any other car. My wife spent a fair bit of time in it, and what she's found stepping up from a Mazda is that it feels just like a normal car. So you accelerate, it goes, there's no lag, so you're always sort of picking up speed without any dramas. And that means when you're in and around the city and trying to zip in and out of traffic, it's pretty straightforward. The only downside to the low speed driving is the steering. It feels just a tiny bit too heavy, and I wish they could dial it back just a notch so it was easier to maneuver at low speeds. The huge advantage with electric cars is the lack of servicing. So you're only servicing this car once every 2 years. Jag's giving you a 5-year warranty, 5 years of free servicing, and 5 years of free charging too. And the big advantage is the brakes. You're not going to be touching those brakes. They're going to last about 3 times longer than a standard internal combustion car. And that's because when you roll off the throttle, it starts going into a regen mode. You're charging the batteries and getting that energy back instead of dissipating it as heat. But the only downside is that when you get onto the brakes for that additional stopping power, the brake pedal feel isn't as good as it could be. Like, it's a little inconsistent as you come to a halt, and you feel it sort of as you're moving at slow speeds in and around the city. So I'm hoping Jag can refine that a little bit with an update. While the I-Pace is silent, you can hear it when you're accelerating, and then also at highway speeds you can hear the motors running as well. It's not a real big issue because you can just crank up the stereo, but you do notice it in the background there. In terms of visibility, it's excellent. The wing mirrors are big enough to see everything. There is a slight envelope there out the back, but the mirror is big enough. You can see everything you need to see. This car also has the optional 360-degree camera package, so it is easy to park the car when you need to. The tech inside this car is all really usable on the move. You have a voice recognition system, so one press of that you can issue commands to the car. You can also send commands to your phone as well. And using Apple CarPlay, the whole thing is integrated really nicely. You have your cruise control function here on the steering wheel, but you also have the semi-autonomous function. So if I set the cruise control, what I'm getting here is the car effectively guiding itself through these lines, and I don't need to hold the wheel. Well, you do need to hold the wheel because Australia, but the car will guide itself around the corners. And look, it tends to work pretty well. I've used this on a highway for longer distances, and the system is really quite intuitive. The only downside is that when it switches off, it doesn't give you any warning. So it just turned off then, and all I know is that it's off instead of it telling me that it's off. So yeah, they could really refine that as well. So let's talk about how this thing drives. If I slide this into dynamic mode, it all picks up a little bit. You get this stupid inductive noise inside the cabin, but you can really get stuck into it, and the thing hammers. Top speed of 200 kilometers an hour, 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds, and every time you pin that throttle, it sends you back into the seat. Because it's a Jag as well, it handles beautifully. You can really rely on it as you punt it through the corners and know that it's going to hold everything nice and stable. And this is where that suspension really comes into its own. Yes, it is a little firmer when you're driving in and around the city, but when you do want to have a proper crack at it, it will hold the car nice and flat. The rebounds are all nice and controlled, and it's not giving you any surprising movement throughout the road. The Jaguar I-Pace is a big step forward for electric cars, but more importantly, a big step forward for luxury electric cars. It was a segment really only dominated by Tesla up until recently. We're looking forward to spending the next 6 months with Jaggy, that's what we've called it. If you have any questions about the I-Pace that you want us to answer, or if you want to read our long-term reports on this thing, head to caradvice.com. Would you buy an electric car? If not, what's stopping you? Let us know, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.